According to the Harvard Business Review, India is a paradox, mega opportunities and mega headaches, and there couldn't have been a better statement that sums up the Indian situation. But here's the twist. Those headaches are opportunities in disguise that investors like you can take incredible advantage of to advance corporate and individual progress. In the next few minutes, you're about to go through a cross-section of why India is the world's fastest-growing economy with big potential for investors, why it outperformed world's index fund performance by over 20% in the last years, examples of how others have made it there, and how you can take lessons from their efforts and do even better as an investor. Speaking of learning from efforts, you will be doing yourself a great disservice if you haven't already subscribed to Ape Finance. Hit the subscribe button to join our community of thriving investors and click the notification bell to have exclusive access to our informative uploads. That said, let's start with the 4 reasons to invest into the land of unity in diversity. Number 1. India's massive economic growth. Did you know that India's GDP has been anticipated to grow by 9% in the fiscal year 2022? That would make it the emerging market economy that will expand at the quickest rate in 2022. The World Economic Forum likewise expected a similarly upbeat trend, stating that India's economy will rise by 7.1% in 2023. But also, the country is home to a labor force that is expanding at a rate higher than any other in the world. This prediction was in line with other positive projections. It also holds the 2nd spot globally regarding farm output and the 12th spot globally when it comes to nominal industry output. Because of the success of these various industries, the nation now holds the 3rd spot on the Global Buying Power Parity Rankings, also known as PPP. Now, just so we are on the same page, PPP is the rate that converts one country's currency into another's so that the same amount of goods may be purchased in both countries. It is generally used to evaluate the degree to which the purchasing power of 2 or more currencies differs from one another. To further prove the growing power of India's economy, let's move on with the second one. Number 2. Digitization. Did you know that it was projected that India's digital economy would reach $1 trillion by the year 2026? That significant number can be attributed to the flourishing e-commerce business in India, which is anticipated to reach $74.8 billion just this year alone, representing a 21.5% growth from 2021. Within the past 5 years, the country has seen an increase of 480 million new internet users. There has also been an increased surge in its rate of digitization since the introduction of data plans that are more reasonably priced, and this can lead to better productivity, higher economic growth, and employment prospects in new areas, such as e-commerce. As we go along, you will discover how companies like Amazon and Apple are making use of these opportunities and the lessons you can learn from them to replicate their successes and avoid their pitfalls. More on that in a moment. Now, when it comes to the context of manufacturing, India's digitalization advancements have also served to hone local capabilities and connect these manufacturing firms with partners around the world, especially during the pandemic. In a way, you could call this a lucky shot because these manufacturers were looking for alternate supply chain options at the time, and India was positioned for it. Now, that's not all. India's efforts to digitalize give numerous opportunities for sectors to pivot and embrace the internet market. This allows enterprises to reach out to new customers at a lower cost. And we do not mean fake Indian tech support call centers that want to scam you with that. In addition to the chances presented by digitalization, there are also prospects in both the traditional economy and infrastructural sectors. Homes are now available at prices that are extremely reasonable, and a revival in the real estate industry will help boost consumer spending, which will be beneficial to banks, construction companies, and cement businesses. But here's the catch. It has been reported that India needs investments in infrastructure amounting to $5 trillion in order to stay on its current trajectory of economic growth. Yet, local Indian enterprises do not possess the necessary competencies. Because of this, there is a tremendous opportunity for growth in multinational corporations that have core capabilities in the development of high-tech infrastructure solutions, such as aircraft engines, turbines, CT scanners, and satellite systems. Here is another significant point for investors to note: the potential to engage in one of the most robust ecosystems for the development of technology startups, which are again not these entrepreneurs from West Bengal and India. This is the primary reason why India should continue to be of interest to multinational corporations and individual investors. Information technology and business process outsourcing are two of India's most well-known industries, and the ecosystem for new businesses, which makes room for sole proprietorship and partnerships, which is now the third largest in the world, is developing quickly. Approximately the course of the past 3 years, over $20 billion in capital has been invested in digital firms. So why is this much investment being made after all? That is because if you, as an investor, do not take advantage of these opportunities, there is literally a rising workforce that is growing to make use of these opportunities. Let's talk about India's infamous youthful population. Number 3. Demographics. When it comes to sheer numbers, especially in the type of demographics they possess, the country has a young population that is well educated and serves as a growing workforce that helps support the country's economic expansion. People under the age of 55 make up more than 85% of the population. To be more specific, over 41% of that total population is between the ages of 25 and 54. In fact, every year, India's labor force grows by an additional 10 to 12 million young people. The fact that more engineers are trained in India's 10,000 engineering institutes that are educated in all of China and the United States combined only affirms the assumption that the educational system of the country educates its citizens on how to improve the country's economy through time. In fact, India seems to be on the path to replicating China's model of taking advantage of its mammoth population. And with the right measures and factors, such as a stable political climate in place, India could very well overtake China in economic strength. You can fight with your phone if you disagree, but that's the principle. And about the political climate factor, let's touch on that briefly. Number 4. Liberal economic policies. When it comes to political stability for economic development and sustenance, the nation has maintained its parliamentary democracy since its independence from British sovereignty more than 60 years ago, and for a long time it has adhered to liberal economic policies, all of which contribute to the country's status as a more secure location than many other emerging economies. But are things as rosy as the facts have made it look so far? What challenges are you likely to face in your decision to invest in India? It is a well-known fact that the business climate in India presents difficulties for all of the enterprises that are involved in the consumer sector. The bureaucratic rules and regulations, the powerful labor unions, the corruption, the underdeveloped institutions, the limited physical infrastructure, and the difficulties in getting land are a few of the main problems. The payoff, however, is substantial for any business that is successful in overcoming the obstacles. Some of the world's largest consumer goods firms, such as Unilever, Xiaomi, Hyundai, Honda, and Samsung, have been able to triumph over obstacles and limitations, which has allowed them to achieve extraordinary success in the middle of the economic class. Let's look at the classic example of two companies on one side who thrived very successfully in the growing economy of India, and one company on the other side who lost an opportunity to make the best of the Indian consumer economy, and what lessons we can take from these examples. When Amazon first broke into India in 2013, it was the newest stranger in Jerusalem. Amazon was a new entrant in an online retail business dominated by well-known local businesses, Snapdeal and Flipkart, and they were not in the mood to budge to a foreign entrant. But with the zeal of a resilient fighter, Amazon broke through boundaries and challenges to displace these two positions and take the number one place as the leading e-commerce business. And, as reported by the Harvard Business Review, the country has added new customers at the fastest rate for Amazon in its history of operations across the world, including the US. Then there is also the story of Renault. Renault came onto the Indian subcompact car market scene with Kwid, one of its thriving models, in the year of 2015. At its appearance, Renault found itself sandwiched between Maruti and Hyundai. With some 70% of the Indian car market already captured by these two giant companies, Renault could hardly breathe. But after 2 years, Renault had pushed through with Quid to gain not less than 15% of the market and earned itself more than a breathing space. But while we will delve into the strategies these two companies and many others have used to take advantage of India's viable economy and how you can also employ it, here is one story that immediately shows you what not to do. Meet Apple, the company that you'd think would be stepping over everyone else to milk the profits out of the country with the world's second largest smartphone market. But no, Apple only possesses 2% of the market share, while competing companies such as Samsung and Xiaomi take on 23% of the market each. What's wrong, you asked? While companies like Samsung adapted to the Indian economy and consumer lifestyle to offer them products they could afford, Apple kept the bar high and beckoned the people to come up here. In essence, what they were saying was that the consumers should get richer to meet their product demands or go somewhere else. And at 2%, clearly, that's what they did. Even with all of India's difficulties, the most significant obstacle for international businesses is understanding how to modify their strategies to fit the needs of different markets, rather than just exporting the models that have been successful in established economies. In order for businesses to be successful in India, they need to be willing to start from scratch and build their products with the middle-income class in mind. As an investor looking to make something out of a viable economy like India, you must be ready to commit to it in the long term. That is one of the strategies with which Amazon's Jeff Bezos and Carlos Ghosn of Renault have been permeating the country's markets and making good of it. While there may be room for quick and short profit sweeps, the real treasure is in the long haul. Again, investors must be ready to break the surface tension and go down to the grassroots, where local connections and effective relationships can be established. When there are strong local links, resources to make use of them, and present authority that doesn't take forever to make decisions, both companies and individual investors will be getting ready to integrate into one of the world's fastest growing economies. What are your views on the subject of India's economic progress, though? Do these points draw you to pay some more attention to this part of the world that you otherwise had not thought of? Let's get talking in the comments section. Meanwhile, remember to subscribe to Ape Finance if you want to stay updated on the multiple opportunities where you can substantially multiply your wealth. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.